GM, good morning. Welcome to the Milk Road Show, the daily crypto show where portfolios are pumping and group chats are full of people pretending they bought earlier. I'm your host, Jay Hamilton. It's Saturday, May 24th. Today's conversation was recorded on Tuesday, May 20th, because every Tuesday, the Milk Road Pro research team gets together to shoot the shit and see if we can find the signal within the noise. We all bring assets that we like, things that we don't like, and we just chop it all up together. Today, we're going to discuss Hype. Wow, what a rip Hype has been on a fundamental level, still capturing over 60% of perp dex volume. Where do we think it's going next? Should you get in? Is now the time? We also talk about Sui. Sui's stablecoin volume is absolutely ripping right now, hitting over 1 billion. It's doubled in the past 2 months. There's also rumors out of Sui that they are partnering with Pokemon, Nintendo, and some other games that they're looking to bring on chain. We're going to talk about all that. And then finally, we're going to talk about internet capital markets and the Believe app. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't want to listen to the end so you're up to speed on this new trend. This is a new model gaining traction. It's built on the Solana chain, and they've done over 3 billion in trading volume since their launch in late April. So something that you kind of got to pay attention to, but then you got to decide if it's worth your time or not, because when you get into the trenches, there's just too many things. And that's why you listen to us. Now, before we jump in, I got to tell you guys about today's pro report because it is absolute fire. It is all about Solana DeFi and breaks down a great investment thesis for why Solana DeFi tokens and apps are undervalued and could be one of the most overlooked opportunities for your portfolio right now. So hit the link in the show notes. Check that out. Today's episode is brought to you by Ledn. Get cash without selling your Bitcoin. It's also brought to you by Coinshift, powering top crypto treasuries with their yield-bearing stablecoin, CSUSDL.
DM, welcome friends. We are back for another pro research meeting. We got the whole squad together. It's been a minute since we've had the whole, honestly, it's been over a month. I feel like until we've had the four of us all together. So we're back. We are so back. So are markets. Good things are happening when the Milk Road Pro team gets back together. We're sorry that we all separated for a month there. That kind of shook markets, but we're back and things are strong. Jay and I were gone last week at Consensus, the conference that was held in Toronto, go Canada. And so both of us are a little bit sick. So don't mind us there. Well, maybe I am more than Jay is, but don't mind that. But we're going to talk just real quick about Consensus. We'll give a quick recap, our thoughts of what went on there, because it's a great event. And then we're going to talk about Sui. We're going to talk about internet capital markets, and we're going to talk about Hyperliquid. And if we have some time, we might talk about some REV stuff as well. So lots of shit coins. Just kidding. These are not shit coins. These are great assets. And we're going to talk about some of the most popular things that's going on in crypto right now. But let's start us off with Consensus, Jay. We spent a week in Toronto with the CoinDesk squad. 15,000 people showed up. So one of the biggest. I'll tell you the coolest thing was we finally went to a conference when prices were going up and we saw green candles, not red candles. That never happens. Except for Solana conferences, they usually get green candles. So that was really nice. But Jay, what was your overall takeaways? What did you learn from it? What did you think?
Yeah, I think my biggest takeaway is sentiment. It's very you really get a vibe for sentiment when you're on the ground. And having been to several crypto conferences over the years, dating back, I think my first crypto conference was probably like 4 or 5 years ago in the last cycle. It's you really can see how much sentiment shifts based upon markets, and builders build, and a lot of builders don't care about price, but the more this market matures, we also, I think, all admit that we do care about the price action, even if you are a builder, like you're invested in crypto, and sentiment is very strong right now, very strong, especially on the finance side of crypto. The whether it's CFI, DeFi, whatever you want to call the whole finance bucket of crypto, which we obviously talk about so much here, that side of crypto is so optimistic about legislation coming, all the tailwinds, the next phase of institutions, retail, all using the financial applications that are being built by crypto. Very, very strong sentiment around that. Also, and then you go down to all the other categories of crypto. Had a great chat with Frank Mong, COO of Helium, and DePIN has incredible sentiment right now, not necessarily from the investor side, but like from the builders. Their numbers are amazing, their growth is amazing. We don't talk a lot about DePIN because DePIN seems to never get the narrative, but there's a lot of action happening there. And then also like really interesting to see the how many you talk to so many people at bigger companies. So like Google, I was talking to somebody, PwC, one of the biggest accounting and consulting firms in the world. I was talking to somebody, and they're all using blockchain, not necessarily crypto, but blockchain internally in very interesting ways that we just don't know about because they're not public ways. They're not like, they didn't build a product that the public can use. They built an internal blockchain product that solves their own problems and either reduces their costs by like 10x or often increases their efficiencies, right? So very interesting to see that. Also, I got to give a shout out to Canada. Like we're Canadian, and America gets so much of the attention around crypto, and Canada really showed up. Having a major conference in Toronto. The day before the conference, Robinhood bought WonderFi, which was like big news. So there's a lot of exciting things happening in Canada as well, which is awesome to see.
You know who didn't show up that's from Canada? The Toronto Maple Leafs. God, they were a letdown. Jay and I went to the Leafs game too in the middle of the conference. It was the worst game ever. But anyway, we won't get into that. Yeah, you know what? The conference was fantastic. The finance corporate world that's using blockchain, that is growing massively. The biggest sponsor was American Bitcoin. That's Eric Trump's thing, that whatever he's doing. So he was there. And you know what I continue to wonder though is if crypto is going to have its like breakout app, like its chat GPT type app. Honestly, not sure that it will, because of what you just said. It's like companies are using blockchain. They all are, or many are, like the big ones, but it's all in the background. It's all internal. And I just don't know that we're going to have this thing that is going to go mainstream for crypto. And I think everyone's waiting for that. And I think more what we're building is just like backend infrastructure for the financial system and for the internet. And I don't know that we're going to have our chat GPT thing. None of the companies there that I talked to, I was like, oh yeah, this is a great idea for like a mainstream app. It's just a lot of the ones that try to be mainstream, I'm like, these don't make any sense. So I was actually bearish on a lot of the companies that I spoke to, except for the ones that were building in the background for finance and infrastructure. And I'm like, those are boring things, but that's kind of what blockchain does. That's what it's built for, or that's what it is. So anyway, overall, fantastic conference. Well done, CoinDesk and the Consensus Squad. That was it was a great time. Really well done, and really enjoyed it. Okay.
Don't shoot me for
Yeah.
saying this, but I just gotta slide this in there quickly. We will have the like breakout app.
Ooh, which
It's
one?
gonna be it's gonna be gaming, and it's not coming
Right.
yet. Like, it's coming eventually. I did a talk about gaming and virtual economies and virtual worlds, and it is just so obvious. Like, everybody gets it, but gamers still hate crypto, and there's like a sentiment shift that needs to happen there, and it's still
E-
slow, right?
Even that, is that a Web3 game that's the breakout, or is it just a normal game, which the guy you interviewed, which is a normal game, been around for 10 years, that's just going to use it in the background,
No,
abstract it
no, no, no.
away,
None of
you
these.
know?
So, like, that guy I interviewed, Hilmar Peterson, who's the CEO founder of CCP Games. They have one of the like oldest, longest virtual world games in the world. It's called EVE Online. It's very niche, so I
Hmm.
doubt many of our listeners have heard of it. Adrian's nodding. If you're like a mega nerd, you've heard of it. They're not.
Wait to call
They're
Adrian a
not.
mega nerd.
We're all mega nerds, aren't we? If you're on the show or listening to the show and you're like don't think you're a mega nerd, you're sorely mistaken, my friend. Um, they're not using their existing game. They're not putting crypto and blockchain into their existing game. They're building a new game, and this is exactly the way it will happen. Like no gaming company is willing to risk their existing game on blockchain and crypto because gamers hate blockchain and crypto. I honestly don't even understand why. But what they will do is they'll create new games, and like just digital ownership combined with playing a game where you earn digital products or use or buy and sell and trade digital products. It's just like I don't need to tell you guys all why gaming and blockchain makes so much sense,
Right,
but it'll happen. That will happen eventually, and that will be mainstream.
right. Okay, let's move on to Hyperliquid. it's had a massive comeback. So Hyperliquid, back when things were getting crazy in early April, went down to $10, and is now sitting back up at 25. So, and that's what, in a month and a half, basically. It's basically done 150%, which is pretty good, I'd say. And there was Hyperliquid had some hiccups, also around that time where there's like a little bit of a hack or whatever it was. Someone just found like a way to sort of take advantage of the protocol. Since then, they've kind of done a good job of handling that, and things are really bouncing back. And the price of Hyperliquid's back up almost $26. So let's kind of talk about what's going on here. I know both Adrian and Martin, you guys have something to share. So Martin, why don't you start us off on your take on what's going on with Hyperliquid right now?
Yeah, this is the chart that got my attention, and it's showing the market share of Hyperliquid in application revenues by chain, and it's steadily growing month by month, and it's already around 12%. And it's just like if you look at Ethereum on a monthly basis, it's also at 12%. So apps existing on Hyperliquid, okay, that's just one, but that's beyond the point. The point is that users are willing to spend a ton of money using whatever is built on Hyperliquid. And the same amount of money is being spent by users on Ethereum. But on Hyperliquid, it's pretty much just one product. And it's telling me, like, okay, this product must be really good because the people are still willing to use it. And even though it's not like airdrop hunters anymore, well, there might be season two or whatever, but it's telling me they are sustainably growing their market share. And it's just telling me, okay, there must be something. The only issue I have with Hyperliquid is when I was writing pro report about Hyperliquid, there were 2 points. One was it's still very centralized. I believe they now have around 15 validators, and most of them are collocated in one place. So, are we really talking about blockchain, or is it, but that's
More
the other
complicated.
question. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But the second thing is, none of us are traders. So we don't really know like what makes Hyperliquid so unique. Like maybe today, if I want to do some trade, I'm gonna use Hyperliquid. But why am I gonna stay on Hyperliquid in next 30 days or like, forever? So that's the tricky part for me. We are not traders. We are not using this product. So it's really hard for us to see the value that Hyperliquid really introduced to the traders. But there is obviously something. And
I am trading and I know what's happening right now. They have huge integrations, for example, with Axiom, which is one of the most popular trading platforms, also generating a ton of revenue right now. And also with new apps coming up, new DeFi super apps like DeFi.app, for example. So you can use in your mobile apps now the perps via Hyperliquid. And this is also generating more and more revenue because Memecoin trading, trading in general on Solana, I think it's responsible for about 50% of the whole revenue.
Interesting. The revenues that Hyperliquid's getting right now, I know it's continuing to grow, at least as a share of the rest of the industry. Is this being incentivized right now? Or has the incentive like have the incentives gone away?
I think there are no like direct incentives. There is though still season two, so you are still earning points for like using that Hyperliquid. So you will still get some other tokens in the future, most likely.
So there's incentives. There's a points program.
Yes,
It's just maybe less incentives than it once had.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. But
So
people are farming this extensively also with the start of Hyper EVM, their EVM compatible expansion of the layer one, basically, with a lot of new apps in the ecosystem. They are farming like crazy because about 40% of the supply is still out for community rewards
of hype
But it
tokens?
doesn't need
of the Hype token. Yeah.
Oh,
because they don't have any VCs, right? So they can allocate a lot to the community. And I guess
right.
like their main goal right now is just the growth. And if the
Oh,
ecosystem growth, like right now it's just trading platform. But if there is lending, I can do swap, liquid staking, like all kind of different DeFi activities I can do on other chains. Like I'm gonna bridge there my money and I'm gonna use it, but it's still not happening. And still that concern that it's super centralized, and if there is something wrong, they can always roll back the blockchain and like change the prices or whatever. It's kind of feels scary a bit.
So
Yeah, but
Martin,
traders don't care about centralization.
yeah, I agree with that. It doesn't really matter for their like ICP, their ideal customer. Martin, $25 or 25.70 is what Hype's at currently. Is this undervalued, overvalued? What's your take? Obviously, if you bought at $10, that was the time to buy. I mean, that was the time to buy everything in crypto because that was when everyone was overblowing the situation with tariffs and that. We obviously bought a ton of crypto during that time. So you could have bought anything and you did really, really well. But what about now? What do you think?
I feel right now it's about the fair price. We could use the multiple, like if we just multiply the current revenues by 25 or 30, we could probably get somewhere around 18 bill. So I believe we are now maybe 25, but it's FGV, and most likely, like if you hold for the next 3 years or 5 years, there's almost zero chance that like all 100% of tokens will be in circulation. So, probably not market cap, but not FDV either. So maybe something between. So I think I think it's fair price right now. But you need to believe in two things, and one of them is they are gonna keep the the liquidity in there because there is no better competitor or whatever. There's no better product than theirs, and therefore all the money stay there. And the second is like no regulator will have problem with their centralized sequencer and centralized blockchain.
Right.
So those are the
You
risks.
also probably need to believe that markets are going to continue to go up, right?
Yeah,
I assume your assumption here is Hyperliquid is an outperformer so long as we're in a bull market, maybe a underperformer for in a bear market. Not that I think we're in a bear market. I just mean if prices go down, is it going to underperform? And if prices go up, it's probably going to outperform. Or what do you think?
But traders can at least short, so there will
True.
also be
Does be a lot of activity in there.
generated. It's not only long in bullish markets.
Right, right. So if it's a short-term pullback, it does well in terms of revenue. If it's a long, drawn-out bear market like 2022, that's when its market kind of, its product kind of fizzles out. Okay, speaking of markets, there's something I got to ask. Jay and I were away the last week. We were at Consensus, and we didn't get a chance to keep up on everything that was happening in the crypto space, at least not on crypto Twitter. We were, of course, keeping up on the crypto space in real life. But on crypto Twitter, there was this big thing called, is it Internet Capital Markets? It's all I saw on Twitter, but I was kind of scanning quickly throughout the week, so I didn't really know what was going on. Adrian, can you walk us through what the heck this is? And yeah, let me know what's going on here.
Sure, there's this new trend, internet capital markets, and it basically all comes from the Belief app. You can, yeah, kind of think about it. It's like Kickstarter with Uniswap combined. So every little founder who built a small app or has an idea for an app can monetize it directly and create a token for it. Right now, it's just an iOS app, but there's a significant traction because we've already seen a lifetime volume, a trading volume of 2.6 billion. The current market cap of Launchcoin, that's the token of Belief app, and the creator coins or the other coins created by little app builders, for example, they have a market cap of 425 billion right now, and there's significant volume on all the different dexes, a lot of transactions, and the fees are split 50-50 that are generated in the app through swaps. So even creator created a token, he gets 50% of the swap fees, which is basically quite nice to monetize that early.
So
There
hold on, are these? You said Kickstarter with Uniswap, so basically you can launch the equity of your company as a startup, and then people can swap and trade it amongst others. Are these actual companies? Is this just pumped up fun? Like, are these memes, or like what are these tokens? Any idea? Or is it a
It's
mix?
a mix of both. So about 21,244 tokens, or exactly this amount of tokens was already launched. And most of them are just memes, basically. There's nothing behind it. There's maybe an AI generated product description, but they will go to zero very fast. But on the other side, there's also a few projects with real builders that have real traction. For example, something like Fitcoin, which is an AI app, a virtual closet app. You can upload basically pictures of your different clothes and then combine it automatically via AI and get a new dress, for example, for each day. You can also sell your used clothes via the app, and they already have about 300k downloads and 300 million views on socials. So this is something that's quite interesting. The founder here of Fitcoin, for example, he has some videos with 34 million views on TikTok. And just for fun, I asked my wife whether she would use this app and whether she likes the use case. And she said yes, because it makes sense, especially women. They like to sell these clothes that they don't need anymore. Men, not so much from my experience. But yeah, at least there are some working products behind some of these tokens with traction on social media in Web 2, and some of them then decided to tokenize their product.
Does this Believe Launchpad, let's call it, does it have a token as well?
Yeah, Believe has the Launchcoin.
Launchcoin, gotcha. Okay.
And Launchcoin is, it went through the roof. It did in 1 week 3,300%. So really crazy price action. It actually was called Pasternak before the token. Then he decided to rename the app into Cloud, and then he renamed it to Believe app.
He's renamed it 3 times?
2 times, yeah.
And he went with Launchcoin. I feel like anything with coin in it is just a red flag. Like, why do we put that in our name? Anyway,
yeah. But they have
WorldCoin
good
once had that, they
connections.
switched.
Yeah, but they have good connections to Solana, and on Accelerate, I think in 2 or 3 days there will be also a segment about these tokens. I think they are getting pushed also from Solana right now because they see there's some traction behind it, and people like to invest maybe more into such a little idea than only in meme coins all the time. There's nothing behind it.
Interesting. You guys have any takes, Martin, Jay?
This is the first time I'm hearing about it. It's very interesting. Feels like a meme coin launchpad, though, really. But it's interesting. If the concept makes sense to me, if more entrepreneurs believe that raising capital through internet markets is a better way to raise capital than through VCs and traditional funding. Like,
I mean, these are often just one-man companies. They can't raise VC money, and they have no chance.
I'm bullish on one-man projects, and I think we are going to see more of them in the future. By the way, I just saw a demo of Codex, which is a new, I guess they call it agent from OpenAI, and it lets you connect ChatGPT interface to your GitHub, and you can just say, "Hey, I want you to do this task for me," and then it will automatically send a pull request on GitHub. And it really felt like the guy who was explaining it was like, you can just come here, and just literally chat with AI, and it will write the code, it will deploy the code, it will reiterate, it will test the code. You don't really need any people at all. And it's just getting better at this.
Selling your Bitcoin should be a last resort when you need cash. That's why there's Ledn, the trusted platform for Bitcoin-backed loans. You can unlock cash in as little as 18 hours with no monthly interest payments and no prepayment penalties. They've issued over $9 billion in loans and never lost a single Satoshi of client funds, even during the chaos of 2022. If you're a long-term hodler, this is the move. Get liquidity without selling at milkroad.com/Ledn, spelled Ledn. Meet CS USDL, the stablecoin built for institutions and DAOs. Don't just hold basic stablecoins, earn yield, all without compromising security. Backed by regulated real-world assets and secured with institutional-grade risk management by our friends at Stakehouse Financial, put your treasury cash to work, earning native yield and protocol rewards built by the team behind Coinshift, which is trusted to manage over $1 billion in business treasuries on chain, including Aave, Gitcoin, and hundreds of leading institutions. See why CS USDL is gaining traction at milkroad.com/Coinshift.
It is wild. You include AI and crypto, and it could be things like this Believe app for sure. But it's like you don't need any humans to help you build your company. You just use AI, and then you don't need any lawyers or humans to help you raise capital if you even need to raise capital, right? Or because you used to, it cost so much to actually like get your equity to be sold, right, and to be public, right? It still costs millions and millions of dollars. Now you can go on Believe app or anything, right? You can just launch a token; it's free, and then you can build your company and it's free because you just use AI and you use blockchain. It's a wild time to be an entrepreneur. Here's what's wild to me, and I think this is partly because of the internet capital markets and obviously meme coins coming back. But I can't share my screen again. Why is that? I got to remove that there. Solana is back up to pretty close to all-time highs for transaction activity. Is there another reason that I'm missing other than because of this internet capital markets, meme coins? I'm not sure if AI agents have picked back up. Last time I had checked, they had not really. Prices did, but not really like the activity of them. But it's kind of wild to see transaction activity in Solana back up to all-time highs already. Do you remember like a month ago when meme coins had their like dead moment and everyone's like, those are not coming back. Solana's doomed. It's never going to get its activity back. And literally it's been a month and a half and it's already there, which is wild. Although one thing that's interesting, and I guess it's just because maybe they had more congestion, but the network RV and the application revenue is nowhere near where it was previously when we were at those all-time highs. And now we're at transaction activity all-time highs, but the revenue is nowhere near. So that's a little bit weird. I don't know why that would be.
But transaction activity, it didn't go down so much if you check.
True.
For March
True.
and April, it's still a lot, to be honest, for the price action that we've just have seen.
Yeah, it actually held in quite strong. Interestingly, I guess if you look at the daily, things change just a little bit, but yeah, pretty wild. Anyone else have any thoughts on there? Or should we skip to the next one?
Well, I want to discuss this. It really feels like new pump.fund with built-in DEX in it. And it's like, really, is this something that we are always gonna celebrate and like, hey, this is a new app that's really cool? Like I don't know, like it's
Is
not
it even
really
needed? Can't
interesting to me,
do
this
this on
kind of stuff.
Pump.fun?
And sorry?
Right? Can't you just do all this stuff on Pump.fun? Like, why do we need Believe? Can't you just launch a token on Pump.fun? What's the difference?
What they are doing on their popular section, for example, they are vetting the founders. If you want to get recommended by Believe app, you have to show them at least that you have a product. So there's a little bit of security involved if you want so. On Pump Fun, you don't have that at all.
Interesting.
Well, there is a reason that serious projects go to VCs, because they collect the feedback, they get in touch with the network that the VCs have, and they get a like really good person at the table who is able to help you and like make you do the pivots while you are trying to find product market fit. Versus here, and like
But that's also a little bit of the olden day markets. I feel like you needed VC because you used to need hundreds of millions of dollars. So you go to VC mainly for that. Sometimes you use VC for like coaching and like, advice and stuff. But a lot of times you're not getting that much advice from VCs as I think people would think. It's more because you need a lot of money. Here, companies that we just said with AI, they don't actually need hundreds of millions of dollars anymore. They need like thousands, maybe a million, but generally they don't need that much. They're just going to take some of that and buy a watch or whatever. And so like, I don't know. I kind of like, I do think there is something here with Launchpads if you're starting a company because you don't need as much capital. I don't know why we need so many of them, but this is just how it works, right? Like when Uniswap launched and we had a DEX, we launched 1 million DEXs. When Ethereum launched and we had a smart contract platform, we launched 1 million smart contract platforms, right? This is just the way it goes. And we know that kind of Launchpads is a big thing. Probably we're going to have a bunch of these. Why not, right?
But Belief is, in my opinion, a logical iteration of the whole VC thing for crypto and for this fast-paced industry in general. Because if you are collecting VC money and you're building for 2 or 3 years, maybe you can launch your product in the bear market and it will die. Nobody will ever see it. So with something like Belief, you can collect the money in just a week or something like that. You can start building your product. You have money for a runway of 1-2 years maybe. So it also kind of fits.
Yeah. Well, I agree with Kyle that like maybe we have seen in the past that the classical round of like having idea, pitching to VCs, fundraising money, then going through different seed rounds, whatever, it might change. I agree, because there might be just, I don't know, three people, they are able to build incredible stuff over the couple weeks or months using AI. I agree, but then we are missing the critical part. And like let me start this way: 95% of startups die eventually. And this is exactly the same thing. So at least if there are those VCs, it provides kind of a filter to, okay, those are great founders and there is a potential that they are going to build something great. But here, like, okay, curation.
Well, it's
Okay, I can
definitely
also,
risky. It's definitely risky. I
yeah,
don't think
yeah,
anyone's saying
yeah,
it's
it's so
like
it's
99.9% of these will not make it anywhere. But what is interesting is there are kids like 20-year-olds who they just get out of school, they want to start a company. All they need is a laptop, maybe a camera, right? Like maybe a light for their camera, and they can't buy that yet because they haven't made any money. And they just go on this thing. They raise like 10 grand. They're like, sweet, I got a trip to Europe and a camera and a laptop. Now I can start my business. You know what I mean? And that's all they really needed. And so like, I don't know. I haven't seen that play out or anything. I could see that playing out. It feels like that's how fast we're moving in the entrepreneur world, which is kind of cool to me.
I mean, it doesn't take away from good startups that are collecting VCs. I think it takes away a little bit from the meme coin market,
Yeah,
and
right.
it doesn't hurt anyone.
I mean, it hurts the degens, but they know what they're getting into, and that's their fault if they put all their money into some stupid token on a stupid
Of
launchpad.
course, yeah.
All right. Let's wrap that one up. Let's jump over to Sui. Sui is the other like big performer. I'm just gonna pull up a chart because I haven't looked at it in a minute. I feel like if you're not looking at the Sui chart every minute, you have no idea what's going on in that. So here's Sui. Had also a pretty good comeback. It went down to about $2 and it's now sitting close to 4. So has not performed as well as Hyperliquid, interestingly, but has done quite well, almost a double in the last, let's say, month and a bit. So that's pretty good. What's going on, Sui? We're actually seeing some like fundamental metrics pick up there. It's not just speculation on Sui, although obviously a lot of it is. It's currently valued at 13 billion market cap, 38 billion FDV, which is a little bit scary. But Adrian, why don't you walk us through what's going on over on Sui?
Yeah, Sui is just so incredibly strong. It's crazy. As soon as Bitcoin picks up, Sui comes with it. And the stablecoin market cap is actually increasing a lot. It almost doubled in just 2 months. So this is a very exciting development, because the more stablecoins, the more liquidity on decentralized exchanges, the more lending activity, the whole DeFi ecosystem basically on Sui profits from this. And part of this might also be that Sui is really getting into gaming. And the co-founder actually of Mistin Labs, the company that develops the Sui blockchain, he in a X video hinted at something is happening with Nintendo, maybe with Pokemon, with Yu-Gi-Oh! They are developing something with gaming on chain, and they really want to bring in the trading card people and the gamers. So this could actually be something interesting, because especially when I think about something like trading cards, there might be not so much animosity against crypto, because these people, they are collecting, they spend a lot of money for their physical cards. Maybe they are willing to invest that money online and have their cards then on the blockchain transparently. So this might be something, but we don't know for sure what's happening.
Yeah, interesting. I think stablecoins is a good indicator for sure. Actually, I'm going to share a screen because I just want to show. I've got the top chains here in order. So we're sitting at 244 billion of stablecoins on blockchains currently, which is pretty cool. Ethereum, obviously the leader at 121 billion. Tron 76 billion. Then it dropped significantly. Solana, Binance Smart Chain around 10 and 11 billion. Then we moved to Base, the next one, Hyperliquid, sitting in 6. So that's crazy. Didn't Hyperliquid only launch? Was it last year or this year? When did Hyperliquid launch?
last year.
Last year. Okay.
Launched
So
last year
that's
now.
yeah, it's already at 3 billion in stablecoins. So that's some huge growth. Arbitrum, Polygon, these guys have been around forever. Avalanche. And then we've got Aptos and Sui, both at just above 1 billion. But look at this, Sui up 25%, 25.6% in the last 7 days. No one else is even remotely close. Anyone know what's going on? Like, why are there a bunch of stablecoins going on, moving over there? Is this just flows moving from other chains? Is this a bunch of people minting over there? Does anyone have any clue, or we're not quite sure right now?
We typically don't get a great overview on what's happening with flows to Sui and to all the move chains from the
Right.
sites that I know. So a little bit hard to get insights there. But there's also a lot of incentivation on Aptos and on Sui as well for DeFi apps and liquidity lending and so on. It gets incentivized.
Which is basically what happened with Bearchain. I think we talked about that a few weeks ago. Bearchain, I mean, here they are on the list here. They're down to 22 now. They have 220 million, down 15% in the last 7 days. I would imagine if we looked at 30 days, it's even worse because they used to be fairly high. I would imagine their TVL is down pretty bad because
You can click on that chain and see how the TVL changed over time.
Yep, there you go. So, oh shoot, they were at 1.3 billion at the end of March, and now they're at 220 billion. Whoa. So we talked about this. I think Martin, maybe you brought that up when we talked about Bearchain a month ago, which was this is all incentives. Probably not the time to be investing in this token. I would imagine. I haven't looked at the token since, but I can only imagine if it's down that bad on stablecoins that the token isn't looking so hot either. Let's see. Yeah, since March. Look at that. That's insane. It was at $8 down to $3, right? Has not come back. Every other token's come back. Bearchain has not at all. So this is the thing where it's important to look at metrics. We talk about, TVL and stablecoin, market cap and volumes and all these different things. But as we've talked about for everything so far here, Hyperliquid, Sui, it's all about incentives, right? If people are being paid to use the product, that is not a good metric. That is a fake metric, and you have to be aware of that. And I think a lot of investors don't get that, right? A lot of people saw Bearchain and were like, holy shit, this thing's up at 1.3 billion. It's only been around for like a month. This thing's got to go up and up and up. And you realize it's just people are being paid to move their capital there. And as soon as those incentives are done, that capital moves fast. And crypto things can move very, very fast. And so I would be, I guess, question for you guys: are you guys concerned with Sui? Is that something you think could move out of Sui pretty quickly, as we're seeing it move onto Sui really quickly, or what are you guys' thoughts?
I mean, it's a little bit different because on Bearchain you had this huge liquidity campaign called Boyko with additional incentives and an airdrop. So everybody knew that the tokens will be unlocked in, what was it, April or May.
Right.
So it was to be expected, especially because the Bearchain token doesn't have any utility. On Sui,
Right.
it's a little bit different because they don't have just one big campaign. They have these campaigns all the time. And paying influencers, Raul Paul, and others basically to shill the chain all the time. And they are doing this, in my opinion, a little bit more sustainable, at least.
Interesting. Martin, any other insights?
I don't want to say it, but I'll say it anyway. I think Sui might be the best performer this cycle because I see so many people being bullish and like so many crypto influencers just shilling Sui all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And well, if you are a trader and you like these kind of narrative games, you might want to get in because I think Sui will do pretty well. But me personally, it's like I don't know. I don't really see their unique product, their unique value. It feels like they are generalized blockchain, and we have so many generalized blockchains already. And like they are right now valued like 50% of Solana's FDV, and yet they are doing like I don't know, 200 times less activity there, and non-existing ecosystem, nothing. So, I yeah, like I'm not
I
touching it, but
I tend to agree. Jay and I recorded an episode on Sui like I don't even know, last year I feel like it was. And I said it's basically a momentum trade, like right? Like it's got all the hype, it's got the momentum, so it's going to be very reflexive. And that's exactly what it's done ever since we said that. And so I agree. It's got a lot of hype. They've done a great job marketing it, getting in the right communities, KOL and stuff. So like it's captured the crypto world for sure. I agree. It's just another generalized blockchain. And like, if it's not 10x better than the previous one, then is there any reason to build on it versus something that has a ton of developers already and a ton of liquidity, et cetera? Not really. The only thing I would say to counteract what you said, Martin, is we're still so early that any of these chains are one partnership away from being the largest chain in the world by 10x, right? Like if Sui partners with Facebook, right? And I know that's the biggest of them all. Let's go something smaller, some game or whatever, Pokemon, right? Like something like that, it becomes the biggest game over or the biggest chain overnight, right? This is Santi's play, right? He's got Inversion that he's launching his own brand new chain. He's got 0 users today, and he thinks that like, by next year he'll be the largest chain in crypto. And he's like, he's just gonna do that by acquiring one company. I acquire one telecom company, I'm now the biggest chain in crypto, because that's how small this space is. So I think there is most of these generalized L1s will do shit and they won't make it. Ethereum and Solana have kind of already pretty much won that in terms of like the crypto natives. But I do think that one of these generalized blockchains are one partnership away from being the biggest. And that's going to just flip things and change things and be a very weird moment. But it's going to happen. I'm pretty sure of it. So
But do you think that happens this cycle?
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm not sure.
I don't think so. Like, I think you're right, but I don't think that happens this cycle. Like, I think for this cycle, Sui wins
just
because
momentum. Yeah, it's
because of momentum, because of exactly what Martin said. It's nailed the crypto Twitter narrative, and it's got all the influencers behind it. The next Solana who is the next Solana is a great narrative, right? Everybody loves talking about that. And Sui has found that niche and is known as that. Yeah, you hate talking about that because you're a fundamental guy, right? Like, but 99% of people don't give a fuck about fundamentals because it takes too much research and too much time to understand fundamentals. They're like, this guy over here said it's awesome and he's got 1 million followers. Cool, I'm in, right? Like, that's how most people act. And it's definitely a momentum or a narrative trade, I think, for sure. To me, the bigger question is like, is the L1 trade the trade you want to make, right? In this, if like you're looking at like narrative based trades, right? Is the L1 trade really going to dominate the narrative in this cycle, or is it like, is it meme coins? Because we all just said, like, look, we all thought meme coins were going to go away and they're back like a month and a half later, right? Or is it DeFi apps finally, because institutions are really going to do DeFi apps, and I don't know, some institutions are going to start talking about DeFi apps in a major way, and they'll catch the narrative, right? As a result of legislation coming in, and all of a sudden you're going to see, I don't know, maybe some major institution, major bank buys a DeFi app, or maybe they agree that they're going to use a DeFi app and they're going to build on top of that. Like, I'm not sure, but something. I still go back to an episode Martin and I did a few weeks ago where, like, is the L1 trade cooked, right? Like, not completely, obviously, but I'm just not sure it's the like outperformer in this cycle.
I tend
Do you
to, Martin,
also
do you still
want
have that?
to?
Hold on, Martin,
But
do
you
you still
also
have that
want?
chart of the app chain revenue or the app revenue versus blockchain revenue? Do you have that handy by any chance? I'd love to see that again. Adrian, you speak while he's pulling that up, if you can get it.
You also want to
know.
bet on the winners. So typically, the tokens that performed quite well so far, they continue to outperform. And Sui, Hype, as representatives of that, you don't want to bet against that.
Yeah, it's I do think like Ethereum valued at, what is it, 300 billion right now. Like, I don't think that's going to outperform much. Solana maybe does, but I mean, I don't know what it's valued at today, but probably somewhere close to 100 billion, 90 billion. So like these are pretty big assets. We don't really generally get any crypto assets above 100 billion, right? They always kind of hit there, and then they don't move much further than that. And so it's tough to get past that. So the one thing I continue to look at though is, I'm just going to share screen again here. Why is it not here? Look at the strength in the last 3 months. Martin put a chart in our Discord a couple weeks ago because someone was talking about meme coins, and Martin was like, the best performing asset in the last 3 months, basically in the world, is Maker. And he showed like all the top assets, and Maker was literally the number one. I think actually Fartcoin had beat it out, but so we kind of got wrecked on that one, but is what it is. But like, look at this chart of last 3 months. Tell me where the tariff and the global trade war happened. You don't see it. But look at the S&P 500, look at the NASDAQ, look at Bitcoin, look at rates, look at every other asset in the world, and you can point on it. Even if you've never heard of a trade war and you don't understand charts, you can go, I would assume it's that moment right there, right? You don't have that on this chart. It just didn't impact it. And this is, again, the power of real revenues, token buybacks, right? This thing has been a safe haven through this entire thing. And so it didn't get impacted on the tariffs, the global trade war, and it's done really well as prices have done really well. It's done both. It's outperformed on both sides. So it's been an incredible asset. I think that's where we're starting to see, or what we're going to start to see with not just DeFi apps, but revenue generating apps in general, which is why I think Hyperliquid was such an outperformer, is because it's continued to grow its revenues. And I believe it does buybacks as well. Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I think people are kind of sleeping on buybacks. I think this is still, I mean, we've been freaking saying this thing for months and months. And like, to me, it's there. You can see it. It's working. There's a reason why these things are so strong, and it's because they buy back. This is why stocks continue to do so well. Is stocks, they keep buying back their own companies. That's how it works, right? It's why we just go up and up and up in the NASDAQ and in the S&P 500, because the biggest buyers are just the companies themselves. And we're starting to finally see that here in crypto. I think that's the most obvious alpha you can get. You're not going to get 100x in a day, but you're going to do really well over time. Martin, do you happen to have that chart or no?
No. Do you
No?
guys
Okay.
also start to feel that that narrative is changing, and now more people start talking about fundamentals, revenues, cash flows, those kind of things?
Yeah,
Or
but
is
you
it just
always
my
see
bubble?
that when prices go down, right? So like in April, everyone is like, okay, we were so dumb to be in all these crazy coins. Like, obviously we need to care about revenues. So like, I feel like in bear markets, that conversation always picks up. Let's see what happens now, right? It hasn't gone away yet, but we've only been up and up for what, 2 weeks. So, but I kind of think so. It was a lot of conversation at Consensus, for example, but that's because we were speaking with a lot of more TradFi people, which again was my sort of thesis, is the people coming into this space today is not a lot of new retail people. The retail people, the crypto degens, these guys have been here for forever. We're not getting a lot of new ones, except for maybe some of the young kids that all of a sudden now have a bit of money. Those will always kind of come in, but I don't think we're getting a lot of new retail people, but we are getting a lot of new TradFi people that care about crypto. And some of them will be degens. Like TradFi people, when you speak to them, they're freaking degens too. They're parlaying the most ridiculous stuff on sports betting apps, and they're, punting, whatever. Like, they're doing dumb shit too. So they're also going to degen without a doubt. I got a buddy who's a TradFi guy, and he loves meme coins. He asked me, he's like, what should I, at Consensus, he's like, what should I be buying? And don't tell me Bitcoin. I don't want to buy that. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. I was like, I don't think that I can give you what you need. Uh, but I think most of their capital, these TradFi guys that do love punting these dumb things, they don't put all their net worth into it like a lot of retail do. They put most of their net worth in things that generate revenue, right? And probably have buybacks and like things that they can understand. So I continue to think we'll pick up momentum there. And I know we've been saying it for a long time. To be honest, we have been right so far this year. Through all the noise, we have been right. We haven't had the stellar 10x thing yet, but that's never been our game plan, really, at least not in this short period of time. So I see no reason why this doesn't continue to be right over this year. Anyone disagree? Jay thinks meme coins.
I think that I don't think just meme coins.
Yeah.
I think that both have different audiences and different narratives, and I think that both do well. Like, I think,
But like, but meme coins will do well. But what are your odds to picking the right one and make money out of it? That's the another question.
it's
And
a
then,
very great question.
so like, okay, there is AI, there is like 1 billion tokens, and then there's DeFi. And if you really believe that someone is going to use these fundamental lens to look at these tokens, they're probably going to look at, I don't know, like 20, 30 tokens that are really investable today. And that's what's giving you your odds higher that you are going to make a good investment, because there will be people using the lens you are using and buying tokens after you already have those backs.
But typically, the big meme coins, the blue chip meme coins, if you want to, something like Doge, they just perform like a leverage bet on the underlying blockchain. So
Yeah.
for Solana, maybe investing in something like Bonk, it can be something like a leverage bet on Solana. So these could outperform when the narrative is still in demand. And I think also AI agents, they will continue to outperform. And the more hype we get, the less fundamentals will play a role.
Yeah, it's well said.
Yep, it's very well said. Good times ahead either way. Lots of things to invest in, whatever floats your boat, whether it's dumbass meme coins or fundamentally strong assets or whatever else. There's plenty for us all. Anyone have any final words, or should we wrap it there?
I just want to ask you guys quick, like, what your short-term expectations are. I know that we all still believe in the bull run. We're still in the cycle. We're going to end the year higher. Short term, though, do you think that we're going
Fine,
to
short term.
continue? I'm gonna say like 2 months. Like, I'm kind of thinking like summer, like
Yeah.
July, like till the end of July to August. I think everybody's really bullish Q3, Q4, right? So like I get that. I think everybody understands that. But are we gonna sell in May and go away for the summer like we always do? And this is just a local top right now off of a bounce back of us just mean reversion basically because tariff news was so bad and now that's sort of going away. What do you guys think?
Adrian Martin, I'll let you guys go first.
It depends a little bit. I think if we make a new all-time high in the next weeks, we could see a hype season for the next 2 or 3 months, maybe, until macro kicks in again and we see maybe more recession in the US, maybe all the troubles coming back. But short term, maybe crypto could even decouple a little bit from macro. Longer term, I'm not so sure about that.
Martin?
For me, well, I was listening a lot of podcasts with Arthur Hayes, and he was right on so many calls in the past, and it makes me assign like higher odds, and like I believe in his calls more than anyone else, basically. And he's now saying that Bitcoin is probably gonna hit 150 or 200, and then we will have a nasty correction again, and then we will go up again. But his timeline sounded like he's not talking about 6 months or something. So I think he believes that Bitcoin can hit really 150 in like 2 or 3 months, and it makes me think that we might also see an altcoin season much sooner than everyone expects. And if everyone is selling May, playing that strategy, well, we might see a nice green candles without all those people.
It's the same with Raul Pal. He also just wrote, I think I saw it on YouTube, that he sees a top maybe in June or July, a local top.
Yeah, I think so it's funny. I just want to go against consensus of most people. So I'm starting to think that Q3, Q4 is actually going to be bearish because everyone thinks it's going to be bullish. I agree. I think that short term, as Jay asked, I think we're gonna pass all time highs. I think financial conditions have just loosened so much. We still have not. Yes, we've mean reverted from the tariffs, but back when tariffs first started, financial conditions were a lot tighter than they are today. And so we also need to correct enough to go and come back to where financial conditions exist. So I think there's still a lot more room to run in Bitcoin. I'm not totally convinced that we're going to have an altcoin season. I know there's a lot of people calling for that. Even I think Raul Paul is. I don't know that I see that yet. I just don't think that the market structure makes sense for that. So I think Bitcoin, I think, is still going to do well over the next couple of months. I'm sure some random alts will do well from that, but who knows? I don't really have a strong opinion there. Q3, Q4, I think, is not going to be just this like up only for the entire second half of the year, like everyone thinks. I do think we end the year higher, but I think we're probably going to have some sort of pullback, some sort of struggle, some sort of scare of some sort in that time. Probably not to the extent of what we just had, but potentially. And then I actually think we probably do quite well in the beginning of 2026 because I think Trump and Bessent and them are trying to figure out something for midterm. So I think it's going to be a rocky, volatile next 9 to 12 months. Ultimately, I think we're going to be up by the end of these next 12 months. But I think short term, we're actually going to do quite well here. And I don't know that everyone's fully agreed on it yet. I don't think it's consensus that we're still going to go up and pass all time highs. I think everyone still thinks this is like a bit of a fake out. And yeah, I'm ready to rip. Yeah, I've been ready.
Everybody listening is ready too, so let's go.
All right, wrap it up, Jay.
Yeah, I think that's a great place to wrap up here. Thanks so much for listening in, everybody. Appreciate you. We will see you back as we always do on Monday morning. Have a wicked awesome weekend. We'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, y'all. Appreciate your time and listening all the way to the end. Before I let you go, got to let you know about this partnership that we have with OKX, where you could win up to $60,000 in cash prizes. That's on-chain cash, USDT cash, the good kind, the stablecoin kind. Why did we set up this partnership with OKX? Because they're one of the leading crypto exchanges. They're trusted. They've got great security. They've got tons of great features, tons of great tools. Really a great place to trade and do it in a safe way. Hit the link in the show notes. Check it out today. Thanks again for your time, y'all. Have a good one. As always, if you liked today's episode, please hit subscribe and make sure you follow us so you don't miss out on the next one. There's also a link in the description to our free 5-minute daily newsletter where we simplify crypto for you while making you laugh. And if you're willing to step up your crypto investing game, we're going to also leave a link for Milk Road Pro. You get access to our portfolio where you can see exactly what we are buying. This is your #1 resource to help you invest successfully in crypto. One final note, this show is for educational purposes only, and nothing we say is financial advice. Investing in crypto or any asset is risky, and you should never invest more than you can afford to lose. Thanks so much for listening in, my friends. Have a wicked awesome day.